As the party stepped into the warmth of the Nicodranis Tavern, the scent of roasted meats, warm spices, and fresh-baked bread enveloped them. The door creaked closed behind them, shutting out the mountain chill. At the heart of the room stood Nicodranis herself, the red-haired landlady whose name the tavern proudly bore. With her vibrant red hair tied back in a simple ribbon and a sturdy apron dusted with flour, she was a beacon of welcome in the cozy establishment. Her voice rang out over the hum of conversation as she called for more ale and greeted the newcomers with a familiarity that made even the weariest traveller feel at home. The Nicodranis Tavern was the crown jewel of Cotsmere, a quaint village nestled in the shadow of the majestic Dilmare's spines. With its timber-framed walls, candlelit chandeliers, and a hearth that crackled with what seemed an ever-burning flame, the tavern exuded rustic charm. Merchants, miners, hunters, and adventurers alike gathered here, their tales and tankards clinking together in equal measure, echoing in the air. Nicodranis was known not just for her hearty meals and excellent ale, but also for her tales. When the mood struck, she would spin yarns of the mountains, of beasts, buried ruins, and lost roads, all told with a theatrical flair that held even the most skeptical listeners in thrall. The party settled in quickly. Levo strolled casually around and collected scraps of food left on the tables, perhaps more out of habit than need, and sat at the table with his colleagues. Plates were filled and mugs raised, but Tarak, curiously, pushed his food around his plate, appetite absent. A strange detachment clung to him, a chill he couldn't shake. Pimim, by contrast, tucked into his meal with the cheerful abandon of someone who'd finally found his people. He beamed at the others between bites, the thought echoing in his heart, "These are my friends now." Tonight it was quieter. Just a large man in rich blue robes sat drinking at a table near the bar. He looked important, or at least he dressed like he was. The only other patron was an equally splendidly dressed halfling seated at the bar with an anguished look on his face. "It will be fine, Nemin, old friend," the well-dressed man spluttered through his tankard of ale. "They'll be here any moment now, Nemin." Zenith, ever the curious one, approached the bar where an older halfling sat nursing a cup of mulled wine, Nemin Cloudmantle. Recognizing the name from the ancient scroll they had recovered at the old toll house on Balraran's coast, Zenith wasted no time. "I bring you bad news, Nemin," he said softly, drawing up a bar stool. As the tale unfolded, of abandoned buildings, wolves, dead witches, and the scroll, Nemin listened with a furrowed brow. His fingers traced invisible sigils on the bar as he thought. By night's end, with the hearth embers glowing low, Nemin agreed that he was grateful for their discovery. Perhaps, he suggested, it was time for more subtle hands. This small group could have more success than the blunt hammer that was a witcher. Their lodgings were simple loft rooms above the tavern, the bedding clean and soft. Yet Tarak found no rest. He blamed the cold draft that tugged at his shroud. In truth, it was the fact he no longer needed sleep. But he hadn't grown accustomed to, or even fully aware of, the fact that he was no longer alive. At dawn, the party assembled once more. Nemin met them outside, bundled in a long coat stitched with star-like embroidery. "We head northwest," he said. "There's a trail at the heel of the mountain. If the signs are true, something stirs there." They moved swiftly through forested paths and rocky trails until, after some hours, Nemin stopped. "Here. This is where I must part. The Duke must be informed. Good news and ill alike. He's a day's ride. I'll return to the tavern in 2 days. If you've found anything, meet me there. Good hunting. Safe return." With surprising haste, he vanished into the woods, cloak flaring behind him. Soon after, they heard rustling in the grass, a low growl, red eyes. "Wolves," Zenith hissed. Levo leapt forward to cast a spell, but the wild magic that coursed through the Harengon betrayed his intention. In a blink, he was no longer a small rabbit-folk mage, but a perfectly pruned potted plant. Pimim's eyes went wide, but he stepped in front of his new friend without hesitation, shield raised. Levo soon returned to his natural form and sprang to action. Steel flashed, arcane light burst across the clearing, and the wolves fell, steaming in the cold air. Deeper into the woods they pressed, where light grew scarce. An abandoned cart stood by a guttering fire. Zenith found a chest, its lock too fine for his dagger. Tarak had a plan. He activated his amulet, turning spectral. Pimim screamed. In an instant, the halfling aged a year. Just a year, but enough to add a streak of white to his hair and a tired edge to his cheerful eyes. Levo, remembering too late the curse of the amulet, sprang forward. With a swift hop, he asked Pimim to put on the spare ring. Pimim was in shock, but did as he was told by Master Levo. The colour returned to his face, as well as a smile, almost washing over him like the tides of the Baramere Sea. "I don't know what I was worried about," he said brightly. "Thank you, Master Levo." From the chest, Tarak called out, 3 copper, 82 silver, 4 gold, and a goblet. His voice echoed, delighted. Zenith, impatient, unsheathed the sword taken from the Witcher and cleaved the lock clean off. "Excellent swing, Master Zenith," Pimim said cheerfully. "You should use it more often." With the fire extinguished behind them, they pressed onward. Darkness thickened. They fought off 2 large spiders whose carapaces gleamed with unnatural sheen, and eventually arrived at the foot of a cliff, where a cleft yawned in the stone. The ground was littered with bones, some cracked, some clawed, others gnawed. Pimim looked into the shadowy mouth of the cave. "Should we go in, do you think?"